Hello, my podcast family. I'm Chris Green, and this is From Grieving to Believing, a podcast about navigating loss, finding light, and holding faith when everything else feels very heavy. Whether you're grieving a person, a season, or a dream, this space is for you. Let's walk through it together. My poem for the day: those we love don't go away. They walk inside of us every day, unseen, unheard, but always near, still loved, still missed, and always dear. In the studio with me today, I have Gladys. Gladys, myself, and two other friends have been friends since elementary school. And if you're trying to figure that up, that's more than 66 years of friendship. True friendship never goes away over time. It just keeps getting stronger.
Amen.
Gladys, we have shared achievements in life together: birth, weddings, anniversaries, and more deaths than either one of us would like to remember. But I never thought that we would be sharing the death of a loved one. In 2020, Gladys lost the love of her life, her best friend, her confidant, and her husband, Gerald. Gladys, my dearest friend, welcome to my podcast, and thank you for supporting me by being a part of Grieving to Believing. Let's start by you telling us a little about Gerald and how you two met.
Thank you, Chris. First, I want to thank you for inviting me on this journey with you.
Thank you. You're so welcome.
What God has joined together, let no man try to separate. And congratulations on your podcast. And I'm so happy that you are doing well, looking good, and keep and moving on.
Yes.
Now, what was your question about Gerald?
Tell us a little about Gerald and how you met.
Oh, wow. I'm in a church. Don't judge me, but we met at a bar. My friend and I were taking an accounting class at DeKalb College, and we had a very difficult accounting exam. And as we walked out, she said, "Let's go get a glass of wine." I said, "Okay, fine." So we ended up at this bar, and we had our glass of wine, talked about the exam, and paid our bill. And as we were walking out, there were several guys at the entrance door. And I later found out that they were Kappas, the fraternity Kappas, and they were going to have a fundraiser on the proceeds for the night to, facilitate their cause or whatever. So they were setting up at the front door. And as we were walking out, it was still kind of, I guess, wasn't dark yet. And one of the guys says, "I like you." And you know how we flirt sometimes. I said, "I like you too." And he said, "Well, how can I get that number?" I said, "Well, if you follow me to my car, you just might get it, you know." So he did. I gave him the number.
Of course, this was Gerald.
This was Gerald.
All right.
Yes. And he called me, and we went out on a date. And I said, I just want to be honest with you. I'm in a relationship now, and it's pretty serious. We're thinking about getting married or whatever.
So this is what he said.
This is what I told him.
Oh, okay.
Right, yeah, once we did. But I just, but don't judge me. Don't judge me. Okay. So I really didn't think he was my type.
We know.
Yes.
You shared that with us.
I was looking for Mr. Tall, dark, and handsome or whatever. And he was nice, but again, I was in a relationship, and we didn't see each other, for some time. And one day I was at the bank, and my car wouldn't start. And I was looking in my phone book trying to find somebody to call. Everybody I called, it was a Saturday, were not available. So I said, "Okay, what am I going to do?" And the next person I called was Gerald, and he answered the phone, and he came over, and
Isn't God wonderful?
He is so wonderful. And he assessed the situation and told me, "You're going to need a tow truck," told me what was wrong, yada, yada. And tow truck came, we made those arrangements. And then he said, you want me to take you home? I said, "Sure." So we got in the car. He said, "Didn't you tell me you were getting married?" I said, Yes, I did, and I don't want to talk about it. I said I found out he was a jerk. So
Well, let me be clear. We told her he was a jerk.
you
We
did.
were we always started rooting for Mr. Right.
Yes, yeah. But anyway, as we were talking, I was living in an apartment at that point, got me into the apartment. He was really nice and cordial, and I thanked him and went into my apartment, and he went on his way or whatever. And I guess maybe a week after that, I thought, that guy was really nice, and he came over and he helped me when I was in need. So I'm going to just call him and thank him again. And I did, and I told him, I said, well, maybe sometimes we can have a drink. He said, okay, what about tonight? And I'm thinking, oh, okay. So we met, and that's where it started from that point.
When did you realize that you were in love when he was not only Gerald Wright, but Mr. Wright?
Well, it took a while. We were dating, and he was divorced, and he has at that point had a 14-year-old daughter, whom he loved dearly, and it didn't work initially, and I was dating, he was dating, and he told me that one day I ended up actually moving out of that apartment and moving into a house right across the street from where his brother lived.
Yeah, I remember the house you bought.
And according to him, the conversation with his brother, they were talking, said, that girl that you brought over here one time, you used to date, Gladys lives right next door to me. I think I'm going to introduce her to Matt, his neighbor. He said, why are you going to do that? He said, well, he's looking for somebody to date or whatever. So I think that kind of pushed him on. So he called me, we started dating, and that's how it started. And one night I had gone to choir rehearsal, and I came back from choir rehearsal and stopped by his house, and he was grilling some food. It wasn't romantic at all. He was turning the meat on the grill, and he said, Gladys. I said, yeah. He said, would you marry me? I said, what? I said, would you marry me? I said, yes, and that's how it started. Yeah. And I don't know how long it was, but it was a couple of years we had dated, but that's how it started.
Yeah, I remember. How long were you guys married?
31 years and a couple of months, I think. Yeah, before he passed away.
Yeah, I remember Fanny and I. What did we do?
You directed.
We directed the wedding.
The wedding, right?
The big, right wedding.
Right.
Yeah.
Did a great job too. Thank you so much.
Oh, anytime. Now, what is your favorite memory with him?
Oh man, there's just so many. So
after 32, yeah, it has to.
After 32
the first
years.
One that comes to you.
First one that comes to my mind. He was the person who just loved to celebrate all the time, birthdays, anniversaries, or whatever. And I can't remember which anniversary it was, but he gave me a card. And as I was going through my file drawer early this week, I noticed there was a card, and I started reading it. And I just remember him always being the type of person, no matter what the occasion was, he would pick the nicest cards that just
described you.
Yeah, just spoke.
Robert went the same way.
Yeah, and just spoke to me. And his daughter Nikki said the same thing. And at one point, he was always selecting his cards, and I was selecting mine. And she said, "Daddy, did you select this card?" And I said, "No, I did." She said, "Oh." I thought, okay, well, thank you very much. Because he did have that skill of picking cards. And I brought that card, and I want to share it with you.
Please.
And it says, looks like this. And it says, "To my wife with love." And it says, "It's an uncertain world that we live in, where so much keeps changing so fast, and things that we thought we could count on too soon become things of the past. So with all of my heart, I feel grateful for the one precious part of my life that's there for me always. No question, my wonderful, beautiful wife. On the inside it reads, "What better day than today to tell you how much I appreciate and understand the support you always give, the way you put up with my faults and still love me in spite of them. You bring so much joy to my life just by being the beautiful, caring person you are. I'm a very lucky man to be your husband. Happy anniversary. I love you. Gerald."
In this week.
Yes.
That is so,
Yes.
oh my God. Sometimes when you're married for a while and things get in that settled place and you kind of wonder, do we still have it?
Yes.
And then you get this card.
Right.
This is my experience.
Right. Mine too.
You get this card and you realize this person still feels the same way. It may not say it every day,
Right.
but when you get this card, you realize it's still there.
Yeah.
My favorite memory of Gerald, as we just spoke, Fan and I directed the wedding.
Mm-hmm.
Gerald's instructions, because he always had to tell you, he had to give you the instructions.
Right.
This is how it's going to go.
Of course.
He said, now the wedding starts at 3:00.
Mm-hmm.
He said, not 3:01, not 3:05,
Mm-hmm.
3:00. And we going, okay, Gerald, we will start the wedding at 3:00.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at 3:00, his mom or dad had not shown up.
I remember.
So I have to go in there and I'm going to smile on my face. Gerald, it is now 3:00. Now, I want you to understand, your parents aren't here yet.
Mm-hmm.
Do you still want to start at 3:00? He said, no, that's all right. We'll wait.
Of course.
We'll wait on him.
And I said the same thing. I remember. Yeah.
But, that was one of the memories that
Yeah.
I don't know why I always remember that
Yeah.
about Gerald. What made Gerald special to you?
Well, Gerald was a country boy, and he had the biggest heart, and he was always concerned about he loved having fun, but he was really just concerned about helping people wherever he could. And he did that in his community when he he graduated from Albany State. When he was there, he graduated, but he loved the school so much until he continued to go back. I mean, like he was still in school or whatever, for especially for the football games. And if the team was playing in Albany or in the state of Georgia, or if they had to get on a plane, he and his friend, he had another friend who would actually support the team wherever they were. And then I'm trying to do that now that he's gone, in his honor. And he and his friend they had this idea about starting their own business. They had this little video thing, and they started videoing for parties and that type of thing, and giving back to the community and making a little money. And he was actually taking care of people more. He was a type that would think more of people than taking care of himself or whatever.
I remember at his funeral, Albany State was present that day.
Yeah.
I mean, everywhere.
He loved his school.
And you could tell not only did he love them, they loved him too.
Yeah. And he actually gave back to the school, and he is in the Hall of Fame from a financial standpoint, and he has they have a picture of him in the gym now because of his dedication to his school. Yeah. So he has a legacy there.
He was the type of person, whatever was in his life, he was dedicated.
Yes.
Not only to the school, but also to you too.
Right. To just people in general. He loved his family. He loved his friends. And, we traveled a lot. So a lot of times we were on the elevator, young people. He just always wanted to pour into them to do the best that they could. And if a young person got on the elevator, he started a conversation, and it would end in the lobby floor for some time. And I'm looking at my watch saying, okay, let the guy go, because, but that's just the type of person he was, just trying to help and encourage people where they were to do the best they could to be the best person they could be.
My next question was, if I did not know Gerald, describe him to me, but I think you pretty much have along the way of this podcast.
Right. Right.
I think we understand what type of person he was.
Right. Yeah.
And he honored your friends as well. He always was there for us as well.
Yeah, he's a people person, and I don't. You said tell me a little bit about him or whatever, but he's a country boy. He came from Quitman, Georgia. He loved his family. He loved his friends, and once he got out of school, he started a business. He was co-owner of a business, and they employed a lot of people, and that expanded to them. At the end of the year, they would have celebrations to honor their top performers and that type thing. And he was just always the person that whoever he came in contact with, he wanted to encourage and uplift them.
And I'm glad we encouraged you to marry Mr. Right.
Well,
that was one of the running jokes with us.
I know, and I'm glad I
finally found Mr. Right.
I finally found Mr. Right. I am.
Yeah, it was a wonderful relationship.
Yeah.
Really, and a
it wasn't perfect, but
none of them are.
No relationship is perfect, but we enjoyed each other, and we had times when we just had to agree to disagree and move on.
Look, some of Robert and I's most non-perfect moments is what gets me through some of my grief sometimes.
Exactly.
Because I have this wave of emotions, and why that I miss him and all that, and then I start thinking about something that jerk did, and I'm going, okay,
you want to thump his head.
It brings me back to reality sometimes.
Right.
So but none of them, no man and no woman, no relationship.
Yeah.
But you have to understand the person you're with. You have to understand that they have the love for you, they have the respect, and they want to take care of you.
Yeah. And when I found that card, I was thinking, I wonder if this guy, was real, And one of his frat brothers said, yes, Gladys, Jake was the real, they called him Jake. Jake was the real deal, And then when I found this card, it just said, yeah. And you were supposed to find this card at this particular time, So God is working still.
Always.
Yes.
Always on the job.
Yes.
Now, one of my greatest fears whenever Robert passed, and even now, was how alone I would be in that house, coming home and him not be walking in that bedroom and crawling in the bed alone. Did you have any fears, and how did you cope with it?
Yes, fears. Oh man, I was from the beginning. I was just overwhelmed, but I realized that wasn't gonna help me move forward. So I decided, okay, you just got to do one thing. You got a list. You can only do one thing at a time. Your support system has totally changed. So he was such a control type person. He thought he knew everything. And when it came to the finances of our house, he paid all the bills and all that. And that was a big fear for me, because when I went to the mailbox, I'm thinking, oh, what am I going to find today? But God got me through all of that.
Yes.
And he was a person concerned about retirement. So we had rental property. I was concerned about that. And we had gone into business with a funeral home in Quitman, Georgia, 4.5 hours away. And I'm thinking, oh, wow, how am I going to navigate that? And I just decided I'm just going to take one thing at a time. And it's been since 2020 now. So I finally sold the last house, sold our partnership in the funeral home in 2023. And now I am at the point of trying to downsize and maybe find a ranch-style house somewhere, hopefully in the metro area. I want to stay in Georgia, so that's where I am now. But through it all, God has been there for me, and I did get some grief counseling. One of his friends told me, she said, the best thing I ever did was to get grief counseling. I looked at her and think, oh my God, are you serious? I said, well, how long did it last? She said 13 weeks. And I'm thinking, oh, okay. In the back of my mind, I can't do that. And I was coming through downtown Tucker, and there was a church, and they had a sign that said grief counseling on a Wednesday night. And it was just flashing in front of my face. And I'm thinking, oh, that's interesting. So the next morning I got up and I called the church. And the person who coordinates the grief counseling was actually the person who answered the phone. And she told me, we're on lesson chapter 9 right now. It's a 13-week course. We invite you to come in at whatever point you want to. We have service. We have a class here on tomorrow, and invited me to come. So I went. And after the class, they asked me if I wanted to have anything to say. And I cried through the whole, I don't know what I said, because it was just so fresh at that point. And that was just before COVID. And then everything shut down. So we weren't going, to grief counseling anymore at the church. And one morning I got a call from our partner in the funeral home in Quitman that said, Gladys, there's a lady who says she met you at the funeral and she wanted your telephone number. Should I give it to you? And I said, yeah, go ahead and give it to her. And it was only one other Black lady in the class. And she, once we got together on the Zoom calls or whatever, she came to me and told me what happened. She said, I guess the coordinator was white and she knew she was Black, so she was telling her to see if she knew how to get in contact with him. And she said, no, she said, but let me check it out. So she went through the AJC and called Gregory Levitt's funeral home. And they said, no, we haven't had anybody here by that name. She said, well, I was in the Constitution and it said that you did. And the lady said, well, wait a minute, let me check something. She came back, she said, oh, there was a funeral that we did and the body came up from Quitman, Georgia. And this is the contact information. So that's how my director got the phone call from this lady trying to get my phone number. And I would, because of her trying to get me in that class, only God, I was able to get in the class and start at lesson 9, and I went through 13. Then I started over at 1 and went through 13 again. And I later found out that she had a story that her mother, she was in the class because I guess about a year ago from that, her mother had passed on Wednesday. And on Saturday, she said, my son decided he didn't want to live, and he jumped off a bridge 285. And she was hurting herself, but she went out of her way in order to help me get in that class. And again, only God could have orchestrated that. And we now have a great relationship. And
you have, because of your concern of me and the grief that I was going through and still is, you had suggested that I do some type of class. But so far, this has been good.
Well, people, there's no right or wrong way to do, so you have to find what's best for you, So don't try to let people, discourage you from doing what you want to do. But, I'd always listen. When I had breast cancer, my doctor told me, she said, Gladys, you're going to hear a lot of information from people. She said, but I want to treat your particular situation and come in here and we will discuss your decision
Independently.
and make the right decisions for you. And that's what we did. And that's where I am with
Yeah.
with
Yeah. Oh, I
my
listen.
life. Yeah.
I listen, and I know that the conversation was coming from love and
Exactly.
concern
Exactly.
for me.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
because when you go, everybody's grief is different. But
Right.
when you go through grief, you kind of understand, you know, the walk that someone else is taking.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
and you want to do what you can. If you're afraid, you're going to do what you can to help.
Right. Exactly.
You know, and I understand that. Now, did you have a lot of problems moving forward with your personal life and the business? I know you went through your list, and one by one, you took care of the problems that need.
I had, it seems as though, well, I was stressed, overwhelmed, whatever at that point. It seemed like everything was a challenge. And now that I look back on it, I was thinking, well, maybe if I didn't have all of those challenges, I probably would have been in a fetal position or something like that and feeling sorry for myself.
But you knew nobody could take care of what needs to take care of
Right.
you.
So God helped me through everything that I needed to get through. It wasn't easy. Like I said, everything seemed to have, okay, can't do this, you can't do this, you got to do this, and you got to follow up there. But
And you know, sometimes it's good, and then sometimes it's bad when the man of the house take care of everything.
You're exactly right.
Because when something happens, you have no clue.
Right.
You know, you just know, hey, we got food on the table, we got some steaks in the refrigerator. You know, the cars, the insurance is paid, all that is taken care of. And I think when the man handles it, we don't even think about how. We just know it's getting done.
Right.
So we don't. It's a lot of information you have to go out and research and come up with, because you don't know maybe who the insurance companies are really with, or you know, or who actually has the mortgage. You know, and it's a lot.
Yeah, we were talking one day, and he was saying, you know what? Somebody better go into the office and pay some bills. Things gonna start getting cut off or whatever. And I was in the kitchen. I looked at him. I said, well, I guess you better do that because I'm utilizing my best resources. And now that I think about it, I guess God said, you might be utilizing them now, but it would be a time when you'll have to deal with all of that. But after I retired, I started kind of helping him with the taxes, the preliminary organization of the information. So I was aware, especially of the rental properties and the mortgage companies and that type of thing. And I actually helped him set the files up. So I had some knowledge of what was going on, but not as much as I should have had.
And we don't think about
Right,
that.
we do not.
You know,
we do not.
I don't know, for some reason, I never thought I'd live Robert.
Yeah.
You know, so there are certain things that I didn't even address because I'm thinking that's going to be his problem.
Is it mine? I totally get it. I totally understand.
Now, did Gerald go through a long illness, or was it sudden?
He did not. He had been diagnosed with AFib. So when we went to heart specialist, and they said, well, you know, you need to be put on a blood thinner, and he was taking Eliquis. And one night I was going through the kitchen, he was talking to someone, and he said, this medicine's making me, and I assumed it was Eliquis or whatever, it's making me, I just don't like the way it makes me feel. I'm going to stop using this stuff. And I said, you will not, you know, and we talked about that. And after that, I started going to the doctor with him, and I thought he was taking the medication, and I'm not sure, but I think he probably was not taking the medication or whatever. I woke up one morning and I started to prepare breakfast, and I called him, and he didn't answer. I went in, and he was getting up slowly, and I said, "You're okay?" And he said, "Yeah." And we walked into the kitchen, and I said, "Should I dial the 911?" He said, "No." And I said, "You sure?" He said, Go ahead and call them."
And then that's when you know.
And that's when I knew what was going on. So I called them. They came, And we were talking even after I had made the call. Once they got it, he was conscious and he was talking to them or whatever. And just before he he got put in the ambulance, he said, "Are you gonna ride with me?" I said, "No." I said, "I'll be right behind you." He said, "Okay." And back to the first time we met, when I saw him at that bar, he said, "I like you." And I said, "I like you too." The last time, before he got in the ambulance, the last thing we said, he said, "I love you, Gladys." And then I said, "I love you too. I'll be right behind you." When I got to the emergency room, the lady said, uh, "I want to take you over to this room over here." And she took me in this little room. And I was sitting there, and the doctor came in, and he said, "Your husband is a sick man, and I don't want you to get your hopes up." And me, with my little smart mouth, I said, "Sir, I believe in God, and I'm going to always have my hope up, And he said, "Well, what we're trying to do now, we have put him in a medically induced coma, and we're going to get him to a room, and you can see him at that point." And he kind of looked at me and, "Do you need anything?" I said, "No, I'm okay." So I got on the phone and I called my my stepdaughter, and told her. And she said, "Well, do I need to come?" I said, "I think you do." And I called his brother. And 8 days after that, he passed away. He never regained conscious or anything like that. He was always on a ventilator. So those were the last words that he said to me. I said, "I love you," and he said, "I love you." And as I didn't want to leave him, and so I waited until the funeral home people got there, and walked out behind him as he was exiting, and I had valet parked, and as I was on my way back to the hospital, the last time I had stayed at home, my fuel indicator light came on. I said, "I'll get some gas when I'm on my way out." At this point, it was about 3 a.m. in the morning. They could not find my keys. And the manager came down and he said, "What I'm going to do is, I don't know where they are, we will find your keys." He said, "But I'm going to get somebody to take you home." I said, "Okay, fine." A young lady took me home, and they called me the next day, and they delivered my car to my house around 2:30 the following day, which was a Saturday. And when the guy got there, I went out and I said, "Oh my gosh," I said, "I forgot I needed gas." He said, "Don't worry about it, Miss Wright." He said, "We put gas in your car." I said, "Well, how much do I owe you?" He said, You don't owe me anything." So that again was God, because if he had found my keys, I would have had to go to the service station and pump gas in the AM hours of the morning, which I didn't need to do, or I probably didn't need to drive in the state that I was in, So only God could have orchestrated that.
I remember you calling us and telling us, and it was in the beginning. I don't think you realized this.
I thought he was going to be fine.
Yeah.
I did.
Because I remember, saying, I can come down there. We don't,
And I said no.
You said no. But then a few days later, the next phone call I'm getting is Gerald's gone, and I'm like, I don't. It was devastating.
Yeah.
And I know it had to be more than
it was.
for you.
It was.
But yeah. It's
But God, again, I could have been driving. I could have hit somebody, or somebody could have hit me, or something like that. But
with us, we were told in November, and not in a very professional way. The doctor called me on the phone. I was like you. I slept, ate in the hospital. But every once in a while, I would have to go home and shower. And this is one of those days I had gone home to shower. And he's going to call me on the phone and said, "Is this Miss Green?" "Yeah." "Well, I just want to call and tell you that your husband's going to die." I'm going, "What?"
Wow.
Why would you call me and tell me this over the phone? I'm at the hospital 24/7.
Yeah.
I was hysterical. I mean, that was not a phone call.
It shouldn't have been a phone call.
Yeah.
Should not have been a phone call.
But that wasn't something I was expecting to
Right.
hear.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah,
But God got you through it.
yep, He will, and
Yeah.
He will continually get me through it. I have no doubt. It's just I just have to get.
And you're doing a good job.
Thank
You're
you.
smiling, and that's good. And you're moving forward, and
We have
just keep praying, and God will. Somebody sent me an inspirational message. Says God doesn't give you what you can handle. God helps you handle what you are given, and I can truly attest to that. And one of my favorite scriptures is, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." And when I lay my head down, from the time that Gerald was in the hospital, and I was like you, I was standing down at the hospital or whatever, and I was sleeping until they came in and started, doing something with him or whatever.
Well, you don't sleep. You really don't sleep.
Right,
Because
right.
every 2 or 3 hours, they're
Right.
cutting the light on.
Right, and then when I came home, I guess I was so exhausted until I went to sleep. So, but I know that wasn't something. I know that was God to giving me that peace to help me sleep and get through that. So, that scripture, I know He gets tired of me saying it, but I mean, it's my go-to whenever I'm going through anything. Is I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
And even when I got the phone call, and then I said, no, this is a conversation we need to have in person. And Tracy and I went to the hospital the next day and sit down with him. Even him telling me that a second time, I still didn't grasp, until his health kept getting, and then I had to realize, okay. But this is something else I'm struggling with, and I need help. Holidays are coming. Oh, excuse me, y'all. I keep getting caught on my earring. Holidays are coming up soon. How have you handled the holidays over the years? Because I know Gerald was a big holiday person.
Yes, he was. And everything, Christmas, July 4th, Thanksgiving, all of that was real special to him. Even before we met, I mean, they always celebrated, family reunions on July 4th, had a big dinner for Thanksgiving. So when we got married, my mom lives in Conyers, which is just, right down the road. She said, "Don't worry about me on holidays or whatever. You're close to me. Gerald's parents live 4.5 hours away. Go be with your family. And when you come, you just come see me anytime." So I said, okay, fine. So I did that for as long as we were married. And since he's been gone, all of my mom's gone. I have one sister who lives in
That's Ruth.
Stockbridge, that's Ruth. And I've been spending holidays with her and her family. And some of the holidays I kind of decided, I think I just want to stay by myself and maybe go cook a dinner and go for a walk and that type thing. And that's what I've done. And it, I've been able to get through it.
Christmas always been the biggest thing in my life.
At your house?
At my house. I've already, and I wasn't going to do anything.
Really?
Yeah. But as usual, God wouldn't let me do that. And He put it on my heart. I mean, I have so much Christmas decorations. I had to buy a shed.
Wow.
To put it all in. And it's bumper to bumper in there. But through His grace and mercy and His conversation with me, I don't know how there are days I'm like, okay, Christmas decoration is going up. I've already did 5 trees already.
Wow.
But then there are other days it's like, I don't know if I want to do this. So, I'm still working on, am I going to have because every year I put a home tour of my Christmas decorations on Facebook.
Okay.
And every year people are saying, okay, where is it? I'm looking for it. I can't find it. But I don't know this year.
Well, do pray about it, and you get the right answer.
Yeah.
For you.
Yeah.
For
me.
you. Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
Let
them, if it happens, it's supposed to happen. If it's not, then it won't happen.
I have a cousin. I had to have some surgery, and they had scheduled the surgery for the day before Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm talking to my cousin and I'm saying, she said, I said, what you mean, She said, now you can't be laid up
Mm-hmm.
over the Christmas holiday.
Mm-hmm.
You are not going to like that. She said, you need to think about that. You need to. And so I did. And so I rescheduled the surgery to January.
Okay. You doing Chris. Yeah, right.
Yeah, so she said, you need to think. So I said, okay, I'm going to think about it,
Yeah.
But, Christmas has always been the biggest thing that happens in my house every year.
Yeah, you decorate so beautifully.
And I've known the times that we've had 65 people at my house for Christmas.
Wow. Wow.
But we'll see. We'll see where. At least I got the trees up and fluffed.
Well, I'm impressed.
I am too.
This is November 1st, right? That's great.
But it's also something for me to do.
Exactly.
Rather than to sit there.
Therapy. That's a part of the therapy.
Yeah. That is a part of therapy for me because I could not believe I sat there. I started about 5:30 in the afternoon, and at 2:30 in the morning, I'm just finishing up. But my mind is at peace.
Good. It's therapy for you, so that's good.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see. Now, are you at a place in your life now that you can cope with the changes that your loss have brought you?
Yes, I can say that. We can't change the past. God has spoken. I miss him. I am so blessed and thankful to have been on the journey with Gerald, because he changed my life. And
both of us being little country girls.
Right.
Being introduced to things that we never thought.
Right. Yes.
That would happen to us.
Right. Yeah. I never thought I would be as blessed to have gone as many places. I always wanted to go to Hawaii. Ended up having to go. I thought that was on an anniversary, and I thought I was going to be there by myself because he was complaining about how long it was going to take to get there. But once we got to Maui, he said, "Why did you want to come here?" And I said, I've always wanted to come and see it. He said, this is looked like we're going down to Quitman, Georgia, or something like that. He was chuckling with it. But once we got there and rented a car, he fell in love with the place, and he loves playing golf. So he said, I'm going to get my golfing buddies, and we're going to come back up here, and we're going to go golfing. I said, I don't care how many golfing buddies going to be on that plane, but I'm going to be on that plane too if you come back,
Golfing buddies and a wife.
And a wife, right. But we never got a chance to do that. So
good. That is, both of my marriages gave me experiences that I never thought I would have. Going to Hawaii, going to Spain, Amsterdam. I mean, there were places that I never dreamed. Read about, but never thought a little country girl would be able to experience all these things. So it's God has been good.
Amen.
That was the original. He has been good, and he has blessed us beyond our means.
Amen.
So I am so thankful.
Yeah.
I'm so thankful that he is in my life.
Yeah. Well, we wouldn't be here today. We are who we are because of him.
Now, your friendship and love, along with my family and friends, and this podcast, has been a big help to me in navigating my loss. All this with prayer and my belief in God will help me to get from grieving to believing. When Gerald passed, I prayed for your strength and your courage.
Thank you.
And when our friend Fanny's husband, Danny, passed, I prayed for her strength and her courage. Now I find myself praying for my own strength and courage.
Amen. I'm praying for you too, sister.
Did prayer and strength in God help you get through your grief?
That's the only thing that did it, because I can't accept any credit at all, but God. From the time it happened, and I told you about, when I go to bed at night, I have not had to use any sleep aids or anything like that since all of this happened. And you have never been alone in your life. I was, as you know, I was a late bloomer. So when I got married, I was think 41. So I had an apartment by myself. I had moved into a house by myself, so that didn't faze me or anything like that. So as far as moving on in my life, God has given me that peace that allows me to sleep at night. My only problem is getting in bed, because typically I'm up on the computer and I'm looking at my watch and it's like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning.
I know.
And I'm still up and I'm thinking, oh, no, I kind of, but then I find another project and I end up getting in bed crazy hours of the morning. But I guess, again, I'm so tired when I get in bed that I just go to sleep and sleep my 8 hours and I'm good.
We've had conversations about calling each other. Girl, if you want to call me at 3 o'clock in the morning,
Right.
talk. I'm up.
That's right.
You can call me. I'm awake.
That's right. That's right.
And it's, I don't know what it is, but I find myself, like you said, looking at the clock and it's 12 o'clock and I'm still doing something, whether I'm on my phone or a project or TV. And next thing I know, I look up and it's 3 o'clock
Right.
and I'm still sitting there.
Right.
And I don't know. I don't know if it's me not wanting to go into that room.
It could be. It could be.
Because I know that's where my loneliness is come from. Getting in that bed and knowing I'm the only one in there.
Yeah. Life has changed for us, but God is still working
good.
on. He's working on all of us.
Yeah.
So He's getting us through it.
Now, people sometimes don't understand how long grief can last. Did your friends and family try to get you to move on before you were ready?
Yeah, and I think that's normal. And I think a lot of it is in love, because they don't want to see you sad or whatever. But, we have to meet people where they are, encourage them whenever we can. And I try not to hold it against them. One of my family members told me, I thought you were just gonna, that was one of his vehicles, I thought you were gonna sell that car. And I looked at her in love and said, that car would be sold when it's supposed to be sold. And that's exactly what happened. So, so people, what they're doing is in love, and we just have to accept that they want to see us move on. But God will, if we continue to pray, He'll get us where we need to be, when we need to be there. His timing is not our timing.
No.
So we have to understand that.
We're walking in somebody else's style, not ours.
Yeah.
Now, it's been 5 years in your journey. It has been 5 years. Has your journey allowed you to even think about getting back into the dating game?
The dating game. Oh, wow. Not really. I guess I was so overwhelmed initially. Well, one guy, one of the guys who we tailgated with Albany State, we were having a remembrance for Gerald down at a farmhouse in Quitman, little house right across the street from where his mom lived, and we were having the remembrance. And I think I was doing something. Maybe I was making potato salad or something like that. And one of the guys came in and he said, if people don't know your intentions, they'll never know what's on your mind. He said, Miss Wright, I want to let you know I'm coming after you. I was so devastated. We were there for a remembrance of Gerald. He was in our house, and I felt offended, for him to even say something, even think something like that. I never thought he would say anything like that. But afterwards, I thought about it, and he had a death in his family. His wife went walking one morning, and she was hit by a bus. And he also had gone walking, and he heard all of the commotion or whatever. He said, what is going on? He went up, and she was in the street. That's how he
found her. Oh, Jesus.
Right. So he was lonely, and his friends, one of the guys who came in the office, in the house, when he said, I'm coming after you, how guys encourage each other or whatever, push them on or whatever. And I don't think he would have done that on his own. Initially I was offended by him saying that, but I think he was just, his friend was trying to encourage him to move on, and he was trying to impress his friend or whatever. So I said at some point, I'm going to talk to him, but I decided, no, I don't think I need to. I see him now, and I'm cordial toward him, and he's cordial toward me, and
So
he's okay.
He decided not to come after
He
you.
did, and I think it was his friend urging him on. So how men will do. You could just call her and talk to her, or whatever. But he wasn't ready either, and neither was I.
I'm one of those people who never say never.
Well, I will never say never either.
But right now,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not ready for anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not ready to take on the responsibility of taking care of anybody but myself.
I get it.
My kids try to encourage me to get an animal. I don't even want to do that. I don't even want to take care of dogs.
I know.
Because if I decide I want to get up and come and hang out with you for the weekend, I got to figure out what to do with that dog.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Whatever you want to.
I have had, don't judge me, as Gladys says, don't judge me, but I have had 3 good marriages.
Mm-hmm. I remember all of them.
You were around for all 3. I know. So I said that to say that when Larry passed, my conversation to God was, you've given me 2 good men.
Mm-hmm.
Most women don't have one.
Mm-hmm. It's a blessing.
And I've been blessed by you to have 2.
Yeah.
So whatever you put in my life, I will accept,
Mm-hmm.
And then he put Robert in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And Robert was a 3rd good man.
Mm-hmm. What a blessing.
I don't want to try for 4.
Well,
I may not make it.
But like you said, never say never.
But I'm not saying never, but I'm just saying it's not anything that I even think about.
Yeah, neither do I.
So.
But God has a plan too, so we don't want to block our blessings. So.
Yes. And sometimes, just having good friends in your life is kind of all right.
Yeah. Yeah, we're blessed.
You're blessed. Now, losing a spouse is one of the most tragic loss you can experience. God promised comfort to those who mourn and that he hears those who cry out to him in their despair. Psalm 23:4, even though I walk through the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me.
Mm-hmm.
Gladys, thank you again for being a fantastic guest and my dear friend. You have shown me there is light, and one day I will get there with prayer and faith. Something has been said in this podcast by you that has helped me, and I hope it's helped someone else as well. Subscribe and join me on my next journey from grieving to believing. And if you'd like to be a part of the podcast, please contact me. My email address is chrisgreen7283@comcast.net. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for sharing with me. Thank you for being a part of my podcast family. And until the next time, I love you.
And thank you, Chris, for inviting me. Love you, girl.
I love you too, girl.
We're going to be all right.
We're going to be all right.
God's got us.
We're going to make it.
God's got us.
That's right.